Somewhere Joe Exotic is listening to the Bigfoot Society podcast and he's like, treat your mind. Welcome back to the Bigfoot Society podcast. This week I have the privilege of talking to an old friend, Tate Hieronymus, Bigfoot researcher. Although he really doesn't like to have a title put on himself, he's a pretty awesome one. So we are going to talk today to Tate all about how he's involved with the current episodes of Beyond the Trail with Aleks, Petakov, and Eli Watson, specifically about the Sawgrass Skunk Ape episode, which takes place in southern Florida. You're really going to enjoy it. Tate also talks a little bit about how he was involved with some older episodes of Finding Bigfoot. A lot of really good stuff in this episode. New stuff that I haven't been able to get from Tate before. So very interesting. If you're listening on YouTube, take a minute to click the subscribe button and to like this video. And if you're listening on iTunes or other podcast platforms, please take a minute to subscribe there as well and leave a review as you're listening. But thanks again for hanging out with Bigfoot Society for your weekend, and enjoy this follow-up interview with Tate Hieronymus, intrepid Bigfoot explorer, researcher extraordinaire. Thanks for listening. All right, welcome back to the Bigfoot Society podcast. I have a good friend and Bigfoot researcher, Mr. Tate Hieronymus, with me. How's it going, man?
Oh, I can't complain. Just getting over COVID right now, so that's nice. Oh yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I hope you're okay. I mean, you look, you look great, Tate.
Yeah,
no, COVID is no joke for sure, man. Like everyone that has that, good vibes and prayers to you for sure. So
luckily I wasn't that. I only had fever for a few days, but it wasn't like terrible. But I'm just congested right now, so kind of what you're hearing a little bit.
Okay, gotcha. So that kicked right after Beyond the Trail when you got back from that? Or?
No, this was like a week and a half after I've been back. I think my family that were traveling, some friends and family that were traveling together that were staying with us at the same time, either one of them gave it to us because they were traveling from New York and Missouri. So,
oh wow,
could have been them. I don't know.
Gotcha. So, in case there are people that have, I feel like if you're into Bigfoot, you've probably heard the name Tate Hieronymus by now. You really should have. Like,
I don't.
You're in enough stuff that people, I think, are getting to start to know your name. Either that or like the whole Bob Hieronymus thing. Which you're not related to Bob Hieronymus. That's a joke if you're a Bigfooter, but
no, there is no relation to Bob Hieronymus. But yeah. I don't know. I think you're being too humble there, buddy.
But let's so I'm curious, like when you meet, let's say you're at a Bigfoot conference or whatever, how do you introduce yourself? Like, do you say you're a Bigfoot researcher, or what are you usually calling yourself now, Tate?
I just call myself by my name. I just say I'm Tate.
Right.
Yeah, just I don't know. I think there's too many titles in the Bigfoot community to be introducing yourself as, so I don't bother with that. I just go up and introduce myself as me, and if they know me, they're like, "Oh, I know who you are. Your name." And I'm like, "Cool, yeah." Like no relation.
So let's talk about you just got back. You were out for quite a while with Aleks and Eli, weren't? Like, of course, I want to be fair to Small Town Monsters. Let's not talk about like the stuff that hasn't been shown yet, because we don't want to, like, that would not be nice, right? But we can talk about Sawgrass Skunk Ape just released, right?
Yep. Yeah, that just released a couple days ago, I believe, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That was fun, and you saw us like in jackets and stuff, and people were probably, well, why the heck are they wearing jackets in Florida, dude? Florida was freezing. It was so cold a couple of nights, and I was like, this is not how Florida should be. This is not right. This is and yeah, it was pretty chilly a few of those nights, and we had to bundle up and stay warm. surprisingly, which was really, in my opinion, shocking to me for Florida, for South Florida. I mean, this is near like the Keys, almost a few hours from the Keys. I mean, that's not far. Everglades. That's south. That's south. You would think it would be warmer.
So you're thinking, like, for reference, did it get down to the 30s, or how cold are we talking?
Well, I can't remember. I think it got near the 30s.
Okay.
I know in Ocala when we went up north, it got up to like 27 degrees. It was Midwest winter weather down there where we were at. That was the coldest night. But yeah, I think it probably got around low 40s or high 30s.
Yeah, that's pretty cold for Florida, no doubt.
It was weird. I mean, but hey, I'd rather do that than go camping in 100-degree heat with humidity.
Yeah.
In summer. and too many mosquitoes, man.
Yeah. There's a cool part where we're gonna assume that you've seen Sawgrass Skunk Ape. If you haven't yet, you need to go watch it on Small Town Monsters YouTube and subscribe and join the squad and all that. It's really cool. But that's your warning, because from here on out we're talking about Sawgrass Skunk Ape. So spoilers, whatever. You did something really cool, which I believe you have a newer iPhone, right?
I do. It's the 1213 Max Pro.
Okay.
Oh, no, 1213. I said two numbers. It's the 12 Max Pro.
You guys stumbled upon, or you found a Florida Panther track, right?
Yeah, dude. We found, so if you ever ask Aleks or Eli, I'll tell you a good story with that later. But yeah, we found the Florida Panther track.
Okay.
Aleks found the Florida Panther track. And obviously, I mean, we were all pretty excited about it because we were hoping to find skunk ape down there. The first thing we find is a Florida Panther track after hearing, like, that's probably, besides skunk apes down there, Florida Panthers are pretty rare.
Oh yeah.
And to find a track is pretty rare too. So we were like, what the heck? And we were kind of looking at it, taking a measurement of it, and it just occurred to me, it's like, the new iPhones can do that, like a LiDAR 3D scan thing. So I got that on my phone. Let's just try it. So we did it, and I think it turned out pretty well.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And we were able to show a couple of people the scan, and they thought it was pretty interesting. And basically, long story short, is it turned out to be a Florida Panther track. And the thing is, I wasn't doubting Aleks that was a Panther track at all, because he knows those pretty well. And if people who know Aleks Petakov, he has a documentary he did called Lines of the East.
Right. And
he's pretty into the whole thing, for mountain lions and panthers and stuff. So I did trust his judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I can't remember what the law is, but
Bergman's rule.
Yeah. The further, is it the closer you get to the equator, or further? Yeah, closer you get to the equator, isn't it?
Yeah. So pretty much, it's the further away from. One way to look at it is the further away from the equator, the bigger the
animals get. Yeah.
Right.
And so that's the thing we were thinking of, because I can't remember what the animal. Oh, we thought it was a. What did we think it was? Oh, we thought it was a bobcat. So bobcat down in Florida is about the size of a house cat.
Wow.
Down there. And so that's pretty small for a bobcat. And if you're thinking, even up in Iowa, even they're a lot bigger than that. There's some pretty big bobcats in Missouri.
Totally.
And so it would be the same for deer and even mountain lion or panther. They'd be smaller in size. So the track fit that size. And there was a visitors center. I can't remember the place. It wasn't too far from there, but they had track castings of Florida Panther tracks, and we compared it to those, and they're about the same size. And the people working there, like, yeah, that's a Panther track. And so we were pretty jazzed about it. Mainly Aleks, but
so what Tate did with his iPhone, pretty much you're making like a 3D scan What kind of things can you do with that 3D scan? Because this is like I haven't been able to use this technology yet, so I think it's kind of fascinating.
They're really good if you can get good lighting. You can 3D scan a track in the ground, and you can kind of get more. I mean, like like a picture. If you take a picture of a track, even if whatever track it may be, it doesn't really show detail as much. That's why Cliff says, or like if you listen to Cliff or Connor or any of those guys in Belgium, they'll say take a video of the track and kind of go back and forth with the camera to show detail. And that's what's cool about this 3D scanner is you can kind of do that, and it does a 3D scan of the track, so you can kind of see in 3-dimensional all the way around, and kind of move the scan around so you can take different angles at it and look at it, and so you can kind of get a better picture of what the track that you scanned.
That is awesome.
But you can scan like your room and stuff in it, and objects staying on tables. It's insane. So it's pretty cool technology.
I want to say, for listener reference, it was something like it was used in the last season of Expedition Bigfoot too. I think they like used it for a track, something like that.
Oh, they used it. They used it for the first season.
Okay.
They used it for the first season of Expedition Bigfoot. They were doing like the scan of the mountain range to kind of see where game trails are.
Right. Yep.
But they did use it in the second season.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you able to send that 3D file to other people, or maybe use those in programs like that? It's got to be some really cool technical implications for LiDAR scans, I would think.
I think so too. I haven't tried sending it. I took I screen recorded my video, and as I kind of moved around the track and sent that to Aleks for the episode, but I haven't tried to send a file. I'm sure you can. I do. I'm sure you could probably get it on your phone, but I don't think you can use the app itself.
No,
you can't.
No. I have one of those little those iPhone SE second generations, dude. It's a cheap phone. It's a really good phone, but it is cheap. Like you pay full cost for it. It's like $400, man.
Good God!
But I don't have the cool Tate toys. Like the light.
I don't have cool. It's just
you do. You have cool Tate toys.
It's a phone.
Yeah, well, it's a tool for bigfooting, right? So
it's a cool phone toy.
Yeah. I can't wait until I know someday you're gonna be able to get a really cool scan of a Bigfoot track with it, and that is going to be legit.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be cooler than a Florida Panther track. Scan. That kind of okay. So I want to tell that story. So, as
me edit anything.
No, it's nothing like that.
Okay.
As a lot of people know, Aleks is probably a huge fanatic about panthers and mountain lions.
Yeah.
And so, Eli and I kept teasing him because he wouldn't shut up about this panther track. He's like, "Dude, a Florida Panther track! Oh my God!" Like that day on the way back to the car.
But if you love it, then who are we to say that? Like
I know, but it's just hilarious. We just love busting his balls, and we were teasing each other the whole trip.
Yeah,
we'd had a lot of fun, but we got some mileage out of that one.
It's a band of brothers in the Beyond the Trail series for sure. So
it really is. There's love and hate and fight and whatever
stuff we don't see is what it sounds like, which is pretty funny. It seems like if you think over, and you've been in a few Beyond the Trails already. You were in Bigfoot at Bluff Creek
and Bigfoot
Mountain, which is in Oregon, right? The Oregon area.
Yep.
Around where Connor Anderson and NABC is, stuff like that.
Yep.
It seems like in a few. I know it was Bigfoot Mountain. That's where you ran into like the weird stuff in the woods, right?
We ran into some Satanists out there.
Yeah, it's the scary stuff. You also you ran into some weird stuff this time as well, right? Or I'm trying to there was some people.
Not this.
Sure. No.
Oh. Okay. Never mind. Yes, we did.
Okay.
we were walking down this road because we were wanting to do a night investigation, and I was feeling pretty optimistic about it too. And there's this road I wanted to check out, and we were going to hike down there and try and get as far as we can. But we kind of went to this spot, and we saw this one road, and we wanted to go check it out. And it was a dead end, and then the other road I really wanted to go down, we were going to go down it. And as we were kind of walking that way, we saw this car rolling up.
Oh man!
And it just parked right there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a building there, but it was obviously closed, and it was like, I can't remember. I think it was like 12 o'clock at night, maybe 11. And the car was there forever. They turned the car off, and they're moving around. They get out. They had a dog or something with them, and they walk off into the trees and walk back to the car, walk back into the trees. It was weird, and Aleks and Eli and I are just on the opposite side of this like campground area because it's for RV camping too, but there's nobody there. Mm-hmm. And so we're kind of in the shadows behind this tree.
You're just like,
we're just spying on them. We're therming them out and seeing what's going on. And
funny. Yeah, you're using the therm on them. Okay.
So, yeah, Aleks and I are therming them with our therms, and Eli is sitting there filming, and we're just kind of just keeping our lights out, staying quiet, and waiting for them to leave. And it was really odd, to say the least, but they eventually drove down the road. We're like, dude, what if they're like going to go rob a camp or something? All of our stuff is there unattended. And so we ended up walking back, and I was too tired, so they went off down the road on the other end of the camp, and I stayed at camp just to make sure everything was safe. And it turned out it was fine.
Thankfully.
No gunshots were heard, so we didn't investigate later on, but hopefully.
Were you more concerned during that time than Bigfoot Mountain, or
honestly, I wasn't concerned with either.
Really, not even with the
Satanists
you saw in the
Oh no, I wasn't. I mean, I was weird, but I wasn't. I wasn't worried. I mean, here's my thing. I don't really carry a gun for people when I'm out in the woods. It's more for animals, but I know other people in our group have. So, I mean, regardless of that, I was pretty confident in knowing that we were pretty armed out there.
Yeah.
So I wasn't worried about people trying to mess with us at all.
Okay.
Not that I'm going to advocate against self-defense against another human, because I don't think that's right, in my opinion. But
I think there's something to be said for being prepared, and as an adult, you have to discern what that means. So
I think it does. But no, I wasn't nervous on both times. It was weird, really weird, but
yeah,
I wasn't scared or nervous about it.
So let's talk more about, you were able to meet Dave Shealy.
Yep, I like Dave Shealy.
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
So let's explain. Can you explain to the listeners why that's a cool thing to meet a guy named Dave Shealy? How he's connected with the Florida Skunk Ape?
He has a Florida Skunk Ape headquarters. I'm probably going to butcher that, but that's down in the Everglades area, Big Cypress National Preserve, kind of down there, and he gets a lot of reports that come out of that area, kind of the South Florida area. So he's kind of like the Cliff Barackman of the South, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
If you have a museum that's located in areas where there's activity, you're going to be the guy that gets reports. Kind of like Cliff is in Oregon, or I'm not really sure who runs the China Flats in Willow Creek, but I'm sure they get lots of reports.
I can't. Oh man,
I know
I can't remember his name, but I know. Yeah,
Al Hodgson was the curator, but I'm thinking of like now. But no, he's a pretty cool guy. This is no offense to him, but I describe him as the Joe Exotic of Bigfoot.
Which is, I mean, that's cool. That's just saying he's a fun guy to hang out with, and he has a lot. He's way more, in my opinion, more level-headed and not as cruel as Joe Exotic. Somewhere Joe Exotic is listening to the Bigfoot Society podcast, and he's like, "Treat your mind."
I wouldn't be nervous.
No, he's definitely not listening.
No,
Although he is in the Patreon, but no, he's not.
That'd be so funny.
That'd be really funny.
No, Dave Shealy's really awesome. I encourage anybody who's down in the South Florida area to go check him out and stop by the shop and see all the stuff he's got. It's really cool.
Is that is it a free thing to get into, or does it cost money to get in there?
The main gift shop is free.
Okay.
But there's like a little area to see some tracks that he's casted and some live animals and snakes and reptiles and stuff like that. I think that costs some money. Not a lot though.
Okay.
And he has camping there for people who want to like RV camp and cabin,
nice.
kind of like cabin camp or whatever. He has that out there. So it's a pretty cool area. I definitely would go back.
Does so to also reference for the listeners, so you are, I think we can talk about this and be okay with it. So you were actually out with Aleks and Eli for multiple weeks because you're going to be in about, is it 4 to 5 of the Beyond a Trail episodes in all?
I think 5 in total.
Okay, cool.
5 in total, yeah. I picked up, dude, that was funny. The start of the trip, man. I pick up Eli late. I think it was like, I can't remember, one in the morning or 2. We finally got to our camp where we were gonna just stay for the night.
Okay.
And I think it was 3 o'clock, and Eli slept in like a little cube, probably by like 4 feet by 4 feet in the back of my truck because it was just full of stuff. Wow. And that's not a comfortable. It's a bed of a truck, and it's not like there's mats or anything. He's sleeping in a square.
Oh man!
And he's about my height, so he's like 5'11", give or take. So he's not tiny.
Dude, those young guys, they can do stuff like that. No.
And so I was sleeping in the. I had a little unfair advantage because I had the front seat. Sleeping.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But we stayed up till like 5 in the morning playing guitar, drinking beer. We called Aleks like really late at night.
Oh my! 5 in the morning, dude.
Yeah, dude. We were playing guitar and
man,
we were basically camped in like a dump next to a beehive. There was a bee farm. There's boxes of bees everywhere, and then trash over here piled up taller than my car everywhere.
Wow.
And I don't know what it is with me and mosquitoes, but I swallowed another mosquito here. Because in Oregon, during the Oregon episode, I swallowed a mosquito when Ron Reed and I were walking back to camp.
Okay.
I swallowed another mosquito here. It's the grossest thing ever.
Oh my goodness, Tate, that is so wild. Did you have to pay to stay in a dump with the beehives?
No, it was just off the side.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna pay for that.
Yeah, no.
No, but it was funny because the next morning, I get an alert, kind of because I live in Broward County, Florida, and where we were at is Miami-Dade, but that's only like 40 miles from us, or an hour.
Yep.
And I get an alert on my phone that there's a tornado warning, not a tornado watch.
Snap.
A tornado warning.
Yeah.
And so I wake Eli up and I was like, dude, there's a tornado warning. And that was the kind of start of our trip. Then we went to pick Aleks up that morning too. And yeah, that's how we started.
Wow.
And then
that's wild.
It was from kind of beginning of January to like beginning of February. We were camping for a good amount of time.
Does the you guys went to the Bigfoot conference down there? Is that actually in an episode? Is that going to be covered in an episode?
Sure.
Oh, I guess you can't. You don't want to give it away. Okay, we won't talk about that. That's Oh, I got a question for you. So I want to give listeners, let's say maybe new researchers, some solid stuff to take away from this episode. So let's pretend that I am a new Bigfoot researcher and you're taking me out into the woods to look for Bigfoot, what are going to be the top things that you're going to say to me that I need to be aware of as a new green Bigfoot researcher? Have no idea what's going on.
I would say just be prepared for the most boring night of your life.
Okay.
Think of going to the DMV, but at night and there's nobody around.
Wow.
That's basically what Bigfooting is like.
Okay.
It's like DMV Bigfooting is what it is. And I for me, it's funny because I'm pretty nervous in the woods, but when I'm with somebody else that's kind of nervous, it makes me like more brave. It's weird how that works,
Okay.
but I would say for that, your nerves can get the best of you because you're walking in the dark in areas and stuff. I would say, just I know a lot of people who've been doing it longer than me, doing the same thing I've been doing, and they're still here to tell another tale and want another trip. It's just about having, being safe and using your brain when you're out in the forest, and just taking precautions that you need to take. It's just at night.
So it sounds like I should really have a buddy with me. That might be a good idea if I'm gonna like try to go squatching.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily you have to have a buddy. I mean, like if you're planning on wanting to go on hikes and stuff,
yeah,
I would say yeah. Or if you're going to go out further where it's more into the boonies, then I would definitely have a buddy with you.
Sure.
Like going to Bluff Creek, I would go there alone, but I would let somebody know where I'm going for how long.
Have you gone to Bluff Creek alone?
I have not yet, but I'm going to make a plan to do it sometime because I really want to do it. I need to just face my fear of being alone out there and do it. Because, like, I know how to, so that's the thing. I know how to get there. I've been there numerous times. Right. And this is going to be logic if you go camping alone or just hiking anywhere. That's a known place to go, is to let somebody know where you're going and how long you're going to be gone. That's critical, in my opinion. So let somebody know where you're going to be and how long you're going to be. Because I will go Bigfooting alone, but if I do, I usually stay by the car. I don't usually go hiking around on trails alone at night because I could slip and fall and nobody's going to know where I'm at.
Oh, yeah, totally. Then it's game over, man.
Yeah, so I would say if you want to go hiking and stuff, go with people. But if you kind of just want to squatch from camp, you're fine going along as long as you're going to be by your car and everything. And just exercise judgment.
Interesting advice. If you take the advice, that's on you. But I'm just kidding. But like be smart, listeners. I think it's good advice, but you make the judgment call yourself. First night squatching. Would you launch directly into wood knocking trees and trying to do yells, or is that something you kind of like? Maybe that's the second night, or what are your thoughts about that?
I don't know. It's like my opinion is, I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends are like, I don't like doing wood knocks, but I don't like doing calls. They don't like knocks or they don't like calls. And so, in my opinion, I like calls because they carry out further.
Okay.
And, you can only do so much to trick them if you're going to try and fool them into getting a response. And if they know you're there, they know you're there. So wood knock's not going to really do much if they know you're there. And so at that point, it's pretty much game over trying to get them to elicit a response. So, but I usually like to do knocks first and see if that can rouse something up. And if that doesn't work, I'll try calls. And if that doesn't work, I'll just try to be freaking weird in the woods, try to do something different.
Which, you do there's been some really like Bigfoot Mountain.
Bigfoot Mountain. That was my thinking.
Some Rush.
Right? So, like, here's the thing. People go camping and they play guitar. Like, they'll bring a guitar with them and play it. But the thing is, it's usually an acoustic guitar because they're always singing with their feet.
Yeah. Good point.
When's the last time a Bigfoot has heard an electric guitar or bass amplified?
That's true.
I'm sure a lot of campers don't really do that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let's do music, but let's do like a bass or something. And Finding Bigfoot's tried it, and they've gotten responses. And I've had friends that have tried music and what's gotten responses from it. Like, let's try it. And obviously, if you guys seen the Oregon episode, it didn't work that time. But in my documentary that I made in Bluff Creek, my last night there, I played bass and got a wood knock response.
That's true. That is true.
I did get a response back to my bass playing. It was about, I was probably playing for an hour or two, just having a beer, having fun with it. I'm not going to hear anything when I'm playing because it's loud. My thing is just try not to pretend my goal was, okay, I'm Bigfooting, but I don't want to act like I'm Bigfooting. I just want to act like I'm playing my bass and enjoying it, like not caring about Bigfooting. Obviously, in my mind, that's what I was doing. And so I kind of stopped playing bass, and it was, I think, 5 minutes or something went by, and there was a knock off to our right where we were sitting down. And we had a group up the road the opposite way, and it wasn't them because there was only 3 of them, and then 2 of us were back at camp. And so we were like, both of us heard that. We're like, did you hear that? We're like, yeah, I was over there. So that was pretty cool. But in the Oregon episode, with trying weird things, like I said, most people try guitar. Most people can see, most people sing or play games or what have you. But I was like, let's bring a projector.
Right.
And let's
games, right?
Let's play Lego Star Wars because you don't really see people doing that. And we were doing that, and we heard some growls up in the wood line up there, kind of in one direction. In the morning, they were hearing stuff, and I think that brought something in. So I think it's about just really being unique. If the regular stuff doesn't work, like calls and wood knocks, if that doesn't work, just try whatever. Bring lights, weird lights in the forest. Do something crazy because they say the best strategy for looking for Bigfoot is not to really look for Bigfoot. It's to be camping and just try and be as inviting and different as you can. And usually something happens from that.
When you least expect it seems.
I mean, not to say like doing calls and knocks doesn't hurt because that can get something's attention, and then doing your other stuff at camp can get more of its attention, or like if you have lights and stuff in the air, that can bring it in and for a closer look, and maybe at night it can come mess with you. And that's the goal. It'd be really cool. So that's kind of my new approach to things about doing it, just trying to just be different and weird in the forest.
What are your thoughts? Let's say comparing doing an actual call yourself as opposed to having like a loudspeaker where you're playing like the Ohio howl or the Sierra Sounds, etc.
I feel like, they work. People do it all the time. Bobo has a really good story about doing calls with John Freitas. I think he talks about on one of the Monster Quest episodes. And I think he was even talking about in Finding Bigfoot too. Yep. They were doing call blasting and they got something. It does work. I've tried it a little bit, but I haven't tried it too much to tell you if it worked for me or not.
Okay.
But I know it does work, and I would suggest try it. Why not? Try it. The worst it's going to do is nothing. Nothing's going to happen, which is most of the time Bigfooting for you. But if something does happen, it's really cool.
Right. How many times have you been to Bluff Creek so far, Tate?
I've been going there since 2015.
Wow.
Okay, so let's see. I moved from California in, I want to say early 2019. It was like the end of 2018 into winter going into 2019. So from 2015 to 2018, twice a year. What's the math on that? Trying to think. I am terrible with math, so don't judge me.
You went twice a year?
Twice a year. So July and October. Because Bluff Creek Project would have an annual camp. Actually, no, I've been up there more than that because I went up there. I went back up there to do the Bob Gimlin interview.
Yep. Totally.
And then I went back up there. I didn't make it to Bluff Creek, but I made it to Willow Creek for Finding Bigfoot.
For the anniversary thing?
Yeah, well, for the anniversary. Oh, that too. So but that was in October though. No, for the filming for Finding Bigfoot episode.
Wow. The filming of that Finding Bigfoot episode, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Do you have any special memories that stick out from that experience, or maybe people you were able to meet that you hadn't met before, things like that?
That was the first time I met Bart Catino.
Okay.
That was really cool. What else was it? First time I actually ever met Rowdy Kelly. Was really cool. Trying to think. We all yeah, it was the first time I met RPG from Expedition Bigfoot, and he's working with Stacy Brown on the Paranormal Outcast or Outcast Paranormal, one of the two. But anyway, I remember that day because like my very first time to Bluff Creek, I had an incident happen there, and I reported to the BFRO, and then when they were going back to Bluff Creek that year, not 2015 but years later, I get a text message? I get a call or something from one of the guys that were working on the show, like a production assistant or something, asking if I can come up there and tell my story for Finding Bigfoot. I was like, yeah, I can totally do that. And so I went up there and hung around, and things just didn't work out, I guess, things were planned out, and I wasn't able to get on the show in that sense. But so I really wanted to hang around because I was with the Bluff Creek guys, and we were hanging around there and doing stuff. And I think we were supposed to get airtime for the Bluff Creek project, but that got scratched. So that whole day I was kind of hanging around. RPG's like, just hang around us or hang around me, and you just see what happens. And
nice.
It was at the end of the day they were filming. They were going to do a recreation, and RPG comes up to me. He's like, Tate, do you want to be in the recreation? I'm like, yes. So Rowdy took me and one other person, and there was another caravan of people that went up to do a recreation for this guy's sighting. His name was Brandon. He had a sighting up in Bluff Creek. And so they did the recreation for that, and that was pretty fun. That really stood out in my mind. Other things that stood out, going to the dedication for Gimlin Way, Bob Gimlin.
Oh, yeah.
That was really cool. They'd filmed that, but that got scratched from the episode.
Man.
Another really cool thing that was scratched was we went up to the China Flats Museum, but the cast couldn't go to it. They had to leave. So Cliff and Bubba were there, but they didn't get to go in the room with Bill Munns. So because they wanted to keep the surprise genuine for when they filmed it the next day.
Okay.
So
yeah.
We found, or Bill Munns was looking at the film that the museum had a copy. I think it was like a second generation or third generation copy of the film. Yeah. And so we were all there when that happened, and Bob Gimlin was there, and Bart Catino, and some of the Bluff Creek guys were there. Kip and I were there, and Bill Munns is doing his thing right there, and it was really cool. And that stood out.
That is really cool, man.
I'm probably not making sense. My head is
no. You're actually a lot clearer than usual. Just kidding. Is that Diet Coke, Tate, in that wine glass? What is that?
It's wine.
Not PBR?
No.
All right, fine. You gotta do whatever you need to do to get better, for sure. Do you think that what is it? Travel? Who does? I forget. Is Animal
Expedition
does that show, right?
Yeah. Finding Bigfoot. Yeah.
They must just have a whole slew of cut footage somewhere. And man,
I guarantee
being able to get into that stuff.
Oh,
jeez.
Well, you've heard Cliff and Bubba say if they made a reality TV show behind the scenes of Finding Bigfoot, it would be
man.
From the stories I've heard, it'd be the #1 show.
It would be wild.
I've heard. I'm not saying any stories because that's wrong, but yeah, right. I've heard from a friend of a friend. Well, no, a friend that's friends with those friends that I'm friends with. We're all friends with them. A guy I was camping with recently who worked on the show. I got some funny stories.
Cool. Well, we'll leave it at that for sure. They're hilarious.
The weirdest thing that's ever happened to me is having one of the guys from the show stay at my house.
That's cool.
That was freaking bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be wild for sure. Going around with Aleks and Eli this time.
Torture.
Definitely torture. Did you learn anything new about Bigfooting or anything cool? Or is it pretty much like I get how it goes?
It's pretty much the same for me. I mean, nothing new. Maybe new environment, different places of squatching. I learned new places to go.
Okay. Nice.
I mean, as far as like knowledge on new things, I wouldn't say I learned anything new yet. Kind of just the same old thing. I did see something in northern Florida that was pretty crazy. I talked about it on Alex's show. I saw an orb for the first time.
You did? Is that in one of the episodes?
I believe so. I'm not sure.
Maybe not. We'll have to see.
Wow,
you saw an orb. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was freaking bizarre. I'm not saying it's in any way Bigfoot related or not. And I still don't know what it is, but I definitely saw. I can't explain it. If it was like a natural thing or what. Yeah. I like to think that.
Right.
Just because I don't want to admit that I saw an orb. But it's funny. They were saying like now you kind of know how it feels when people who see Bigfoot who don't want to admit it's Bigfoot, but that's what it is.
Totally.
Saw Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I'm in that same boat of people like, dude, I freaking saw an orb. It was a ball. It was a ball of light floating around in the tree line.
Okay. Wow.
It wasn't a shooting star because I've seen those 100 times, especially in Bluff Creek. And it wasn't a flashlight because it was up in the tree line, not above it, not below it, just kind of high. And it was like a baseball-sized ball of light just going. Shh.
Weird.
And me and another gentleman saw it. And we were like, there was audio. I was recording audio, and you could hear us on the audio. Like, what the heck was that?
I was going to ask, did Aleks or Eli see it at all, or just you and the other gentleman?
No, so we split up into two groups.
Oh, okay, cool.
Me RPG and this other guy.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And we went down, we were in two different groups. Me, Aleks. I am messing up.
You're good.
No, Aleks, Eli, and Stacy left earlier down the road with lights on. And then, I'm forgetting his name. Oh, James and RPG and I followed with lights out, trying to do some stuff. And we met up with them down the road eventually. And this time, we walked back to the cars with our lights on, and they followed us a few minutes behind us with their lights off. And we got back to the cars, and as we're waiting on them, I decided to do another knock. And then after I did the knock, about 4 or 5 minutes later, is when James and I saw this orb floating around in the trees.
Wow.
That's when, not too long after that, Aleks, Stacy, and Eli get back, and we were like, dude, we saw a freaking orb. Yeah, we saw, it was like right here. We were telling them about it, and Stacy's like, yeah, dude, pretty nuts. But I've never seen one here, but dang, it's pretty awesome you did.
Wow. That's cool, man. That is cool. Do you have any plans to make a follow-up documentary to the one that you released last year?
Actually, I do. I'm thinking I have a couple locations in mind.
Okay.
One location is in Canada that I would love to get to.
Canada.
Another one is in Washington. So I'm still planning it right now. So if I can figure out which area I want to hit really bad, what I'm going to do is start another GoFundMe, just like I did
Okay.
for my
Yeah,
last
yeah.
film, and hopefully raise money. But my
Totally.
goal is going to be more money this time. I think my goal was 2,000 last time, but I'm going to try and go for a little higher, just because the budget is going to be gas money and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, I mean, man, yeah, I'd say that's probably a wise idea. We'll leave it at that. But Canada. There's so many. I'm trying to think. There's so many things that, like, I've heard some crazy stories come out of Canada. So I'm
One of
very
the,
curious.
I'll give you a
what
hint. One of
happened.
the area that I want to go to was in an episode of Survivor Man Bigfoot. But I don't want to
Ooh.
say which area it was,
Okay,
just because I kind of want to keep that secret.
gotcha.
I'm hoping I can like bring my brother or dad with me on that trip.
Yeah.
Or
Dude, you should go to Snell Grove Lake. Return to Snell Grove Lake. You know what I'm talking about? The old Meldrum
Dude,
episode of Monster Quest.
Dude,
Dude,
it's only accessible by plane though, which
then
is
get a plane, dude.
that's easy to say.
What if there was, oh my goodness, dude, what if beyond the trail, Snell Grove Lake? Could you
I would
imagine? Oh,
I would love to do that.
that would be amazing.
I'm trying. Well, right now I'm trying to talk Alex and Eli into doing like an Iowa Beyond the Trail episode.
Dude, beyond the trail, Hawkeye Bigfoot would be crazy.
I am trying to get that. I'm like, dude, you guys do it. I'll be your freaking guide.
For sure.
I'll be, dude. You tell me when, and I'll take you to these spots that I know really well.
I mean, I'll probably like track you guys down and like crash.
Hang out for
sure.
Hang out for a night or two.
That'd be crazy,
dude. I know some good areas.
I know you do.
There's one. Okay, well, when I did my documentary, there's this area I told you about that I was going to, and I was like, dude, I know this place is good. I know it has the resources and everything, but I just never got lucky there yet.
Right.
And so it was funny because the year I was living in Iowa, this other group, the Lowlands Bigfoot Research Group, I think.
I think so, yeah.
They're BFRO guys. They were in the episode of the Iowa episode of Finding Bigfoot.
Exactly.
Steve Moon is one of the guys' names.
Yep.
Brian Woods. Were two guys camping in this area that I was researching in that actually got audio from this area.
Yeah.
And they gave me permission to use it in my film. It was like, I knew this area was good, and that just proved it for me. It just, because that has deer, there's lakes, there's running water, and so it has everything a Bigfoot would need. And it's a pretty big parcel of forest in that area. So it's doing it for me there, man.
Dude, what's the we came up with a code name for it.
I had the Three Lakes area.
Dude, there you go. Because people don't get excited unless there's an awesome code name for a research area.
I mean, I say it's funny. It's like in the Midwest, you call it ponds because you think of lakes. You think of like the Great Lakes, like and stuff like that. Or I call it lakes because it's the biggest lake in around. It's pretty big. And there's about 3 lakes there, give or take, but they're not terribly big. So I just call it Three Lakes area.
That's all you need. Dude, did you know the whole Skinwalker Ranch thing?
Okay.
So, oh man. So Skinwalker Ranch is like this ranch out in Utah where it's like got all this weird stuff happening. Like,
I mean, I know Skinwalker Ranch.
Okay, you know about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So supposedly there's like a version of that down in Missouri.
What?
At a place. So again, code name secret research area called Marley Woods. But, it's got that code name, so it's legit. But supposedly it's got all sorts of weird stuff going down. So
you said Missouri?
Yeah, it's in Missouri somewhere. Yeah.
Southern Missouri or just
I have no idea.
Makes me wonder.
Yeah.
Because I know
I
know some areas that are really squatchy could be in that area.
I bet the Ozarks area really squatchy in Missouri.
I mean, Finding Bigfoot did an episode there too.
Oh, really?
And they did a Finding Bigfoot.
Dude, I haven't seen all the episodes. I mean, there's like 7,000, right?
No, seventh. The episode, no, Finding Bigfoot went to, I can't remember, what is it, Ozark in the Sun or something like that, or something, Bigfoot Ozarks or something like that. But they went to Missouri, and the place they were researching was Mark Twain National Forest.
Oh yeah, sure. Yep.
But their town hall meeting was in Branson, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Which I have family that lives there.
In Branson?
Yeah.
Nice.
I like to go there sometimes, and there's and Branson is kind of adopting the whole Bigfoot theme now because
they have a Bigfoot park there or something like that.
They have that Bigfoot fun park there.
Yeah.
So Bigfoot is starting to make a name down there, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I think it's a super squatchy area. it's really squatchy. So I definitely want to do some more researching down there. Be a bucket list place to go to.
Oh yeah. I want to give you some time to talk about. You've got kind of a new podcast coming out, right?
I do. It's called One Strange Podcast.
Okay.
It's not like strictly Bigfoot. I mean, I'll talk about Bigfoot. When I have different guests on that are Bigfoot people, I'll talk about that. But I have a lot of friends that are musicians and people that are into film and TV and stuff and sports, and I definitely want to talk about that too. So it's kind of like, it's not going to be one thing. It's going to be a whole just jumble of topics, and that's why it's strange. And I thought that was a cool name for it, One Strange Podcast. Because normally a podcast is usually just one kind of topic, generally.
Exactly.
Because they're trying to get that certain crowd. But I was like, who cares? I'm just going to go for it all. You see what happens.
Because a lot of people might not like. Tate, you're one of those guys that the connections you have are very interesting. Like the connections you get. So that podcast could get very interesting, depending on
who I get.
You could get some really cool people on. You never. I mean, we'll see, but
I hope so. It's all about who you know.
That's true, because I don't know if all listeners know, but so you have your Tate Hieronymus YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
And you were involved with Rainn Wilson's telethon.
Yeah.
You were involved with filming that, so you got to hang out with all these guys from The Office back in the day, and get those connections. It's pretty cool.
And I worked when I lived in Mexico. There's for those people who like sports, there's a really famous race called the Baja 1000.
Oh yeah.
I made some connections working there, so I know some guys who are sponsored by Red Bull that raced it.
Oh, that's cool.
I know a sports film director, Dana Brown. People might be familiar with his dad, Bruce Brown, I think is his name, who made Endless Summers, a famous surf documentary.
Oh yeah, right.
But his son Dana is the one I know, and my brother and I were in a documentary that he made about the Baja 1000.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
We were in a scene, and he made sure to put us in it. And one of the guys working on the film, he was like, "Hey, what's your guys' names? I'll put you guys in the credits." So we actually went to the theaters when it came out, and we were like, "Oh my god, there we are!"
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So I made a lot of connections with sports and music because I grew up around music too, and so like you said, I have all these weird connections that I've made from different things I've done. So I was like, let's do a podcast, and it'd be cool to have a podcast where everybody can go to one place for everything.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where it goes. Your first episode is out right now.
March 1st.
Yeah, but it's soon, right?
March 1st.
Yep.
It's with some buddies that I met. Well, I haven't met personally yet, but they know a lot of my friends are musicians there. They do a music podcast called Pretty Fort Weekly in the Des Moines area.
Right. Des Moines, Washington.
Iowa.
Oh, Des Moines, Iowa.
Des Moines, Iowa. No, yeah, Des Moines, Iowa. Pretty cool guys. So I reached out to them, and they're my first guest on the show, and so
that's awesome.
I have some scheduling more episodes to record, so I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be really fun. Oh, cool.
Let's say, last question. Is there anything in the field of Bigfoot right now
No.
that is you super excited?
No.
No?
I'm just kidding. I was trying to interrupt you to say that. Anything in the field of Bigfoot that gets me excited? Like,
or maybe intrigued. You could say intrigued.
I don't know, it really takes a lot to make me excited about something. I would say, like, not as far as research goes, but there's that new Legend Meets Science documentary.
Yeah, that's coming out.
Yeah, I know.
Be legit.
Alexander Petakov is in that.
Yep.
Doug Hychek. We're all friends with him. He's in that.
Sure. Yep.
Meldrum is obviously going to be a part of that. So I'm really excited to see our friends in this thing, and that's super, super cool. I'm really looking forward to that. And then,
I'm excited about that as well.
I guess, I'm just going to say it.
Don't make me edit anything.
No, you're not going to have to edit anything.
All right.
I'm looking forward to all the new Beyond the Trail episodes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Totally.
And like I said before, I'm trying to talk Aleks and Eli into doing an Iowa episode.
That's true.
So if I do that, I'll be freaking excited because, like, if we can do Iowa and Missouri, those are my states, man.
Oh, dude, yes, Seth, make it happen for sure.
Those are my states. I'm Missouri blood, and I share Missouri with Bob Gimlin because he's from Missouri.
True. And Walt Disney was too.
And so two Bluff Creek guys are from Missouri.
Right.
Go figure.
Yeah.
And I'm also trying to convince Aleks and Eli to do maybe not another documentary on my thermal film in my research area.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So we'll see if I can pull that off, get them up there. I don't want to say any more than that because I don't know what the plan is, but that's just me wanting to get them up there.
Well, Tate, let's remind the audience about how they can best keep up to date with what you are doing.
Check the police reports.
In your hometown, everyone's hometown, Tate is there like a reverse Santa Claus.
Pretty much. No, you can follow me on Facebook or friend me at just Tate Hieronymus. Bluff Creek Project Podcast, or Bluff Creek Project on Facebook. My new podcast, One Strange Podcast. You can follow that on all the social medias except
subscribe to that.
Yep. So just look for those things. And I'm pretty active on all of them. So, and anybody who's planning a trip to Bluff Creek, please get in contact with the Bluff Creek Project so we can get you there safely. Also, the official Bluff Creek annual campout, the official Bluff Creek Project annual campout for this year is July 6th through the 10th.
Oh, cool.
So get in touch with that if you're thinking of wanting to attend.
And if you want to watch Tate's documentary, it's on, you just look up Tate Hieronymus on YouTube, right? That's the channel name?
Yep, just Tate Hieronymus. And the documentary is called Uncovering the Truth of Sasquatch. It's about 40 minutes long. So
subscribe to that, definitely. Let's get Tate to 1,000. Also, if you go to NABC, North American Bigfoot Center, you can see Tate interview Bob Gimlin, which is the first time he's been interviewed at Bluff Creek. So that's a cool thing you can see at the NABC as well in Oregon.
Sure.
So, Tate, thanks so much for coming on again and hanging out. And I can't wait to see the next episodes of Beyond the Trail coming up and to see where your Bigfooting leads you in the future. So thanks for coming on, man.
Oh, thanks. No problem.
Thanks for listening to the Bigfoot Society podcast. Please take a few minutes to review the show on iTunes, 5 stars, as it does help us get into the eyes and ears of more listeners on iTunes. That will help us just get bigger and bigger and get even better quality guests for future shows. Also, if you have any Bigfoot encounters or cryptid encounters, please send your stories and audio and photos, whatever you've got, over to bigfootsociety@gmail.com. If you'd like to become more involved with Bigfoot Society and get some extra content, we do have a Patreon where you can get all sorts of cool things. For example, for $7 a month, you get extra Bigfoot Society content, usually interviews, but other things as well. You get a sweet membership card and a vinyl sticker that I send to you in the mail. You get access to the Bigfoot Society after show, which is an extra interview after the main interview with the weekly guest, and usually they are up for Patreon members to be in that extra show segment with them and me, and you get to ask your question live to them and get an answer from the guest, which, as you've seen what guest we've had in the past, this could be a really big deal. There's also a private Discord where you can get involved with talking to me one-on-one and the community there, and that's always a great time. You can find the Patreon at www.patreon.com/The Bigfoot Society. We're very thankful for all our supporters that we have in so many different ways, and appreciate all our listeners coming back week after week to listen to more cryptozoology-based interviews. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. The views and opinions expressed are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Bigfoot Society. Any content provided by our guests are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone. Thank you.